Once upon a time, there was a peasant who sold his cow for 7 thalers. On his way home, he passed a pond. From a distance, he heard the frogs croaking. Ike! 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 Well, the peasant said to himself, they are making a lot of noise for no reason. It's 7 I got, not 8. He walked to the water's edge and shouted, you stupid creatures! Don't you know any better? It's 7 thalers, not 8. But the frogs only croaked louder, Ike! 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 Fine, cried the peasant. If you won't believe me, I'll count it out for you. He pulled the coins from his pocket and counted them out, one by one. But the frogs paid no attention. They just kept saying, Ike! 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 What? The peasant yelled in a rage. Since you insist on knowing better than I do, then count it yourselves. And with that, he threw all the money into the pond. He stood there for a long time, waiting for them to finish counting and throw his money back. But no money came floating up. Finally, as evening fell, he headed home, shouting one last insult. You water splashers! You thick heads! You have big mouths but you cannot even count to 7. Some time later, the peasant slaughtered another cow. He hoped to sell the meat for a great profit. Just outside the city gate, a pack of dogs gathered around him, led by a large greyhound. The dog jumped at the meat and barked. Wow! 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 Yes, yes, said the peasant, I understand. You want the meat? But I'd be in a fine fix if I gave it to you for free. The dog only answered, wow! Wow! Will you promise to pay me? And will you stand shorty for your companions? Wow! Wow! Wow, said the dog. Well then, I'll leave it with you, the peasant said. I know who your master is. But mark my words, in 3 days you must bring me the money. He unloaded the meat and walked away. 3 days later, the peasant was in high spirits, thinking, tonight, the money will be in my pocket. But no one came. The peasant went to the city butcher to demand his money. The butcher thought it was a joke and chased him out with a broomstick. There is still justice in the world, cried the peasant. He went straight to the royal palace. He told the king and the princess his whole story, about the counting frogs and the meat-eating dogs. The princess, who was usually very serious, burst out laughing. The king said, I cannot give you justice regarding the dogs, but because you made my daughter laugh, I will give her to you in marriage. Oh no, answered the peasant. I already have a wife at home, and she is quite enough for me. When I go home, it feels as if there's a wife standing in every corner. The king grew angry. You are a bore. The peasant replied, Lord King, what can you expect from an ox except beef? Enough, said the king. You shall have another reward. Come back in 3 days, and 500 shall be counted out to you in full. As the peasant left, the sentry at the gate stopped him. You made the princess laugh. You must be getting a great reward. Yes, said the peasant, 500 are to be counted out to me. Listen, said the soldier, give me some of it. What will you do with so much? Fine, said the peasant. You shall have 200. Present yourself in 3 days to be paid. A greedy merchant nearby overheard this. He ran after the peasant. Let me change those heavy thalers into small coins for you right now." "All right," said the peasant, "you can have 300. Give me the small coins now, and the king will pay you in 3 days." The merchant gave him a handful of nearly worthless copper coins, delighted with the deal. 3 days later, the peasant appeared before the king. "Take off his coat," the king commanded, "and count out his 500. The king meant 500 lashes of the whip. "Wait," said the peasant. "The reward no longer belongs to me. I gave 200 to the sentry, and 300 to the merchant." Just then, the soldier and the merchant entered. Instead of gold, they received the lashes. The soldier took it quietly, but the merchant wailed, "Alas! Are these the heavy thalers?" The king laughed and said to the peasant, "Since you lost your reward, go into my treasure chamber and take as much gold as you like." The peasant stuffed his pockets until they were bulging. Later, the merchant saw the peasant counting his gold and grumbling, "That rogue of a king! Why couldn't he give me the money himself? Now I don't even know if I have the right amount." The merchant ran to the king to report this disrespectful talk. The king was furious and ordered the peasant to be brought back. The merchant told the peasant, "You must come to the king immediately, just as you are, in those rags." "I need a new coat first," said the peasant. "A man with this much money cannot wear rags." Fearing the king's anger would cool down, the merchant said, "Fine. I will lend you my own expensive coat just for this visit." Before the king, the peasant said, "My lord, whatever this merchant says is a lie. Why, this rascal is even capable of claiming that I am wearing his coat." "What?" shrieked the merchant. "It is my coat. I lent it to you out of friendship." The king shook his head. "The merchant is clearly lying to one of us." He ordered the merchant to be whipped again and sent the peasant home. The peasant, wearing the borrowed coat and carrying his gold, whispered to himself, "This time, I really have made a good bargain."